It's Wednesday, July 29th. I can't believe the summer is almost over. Hopefully my screen is up and I'm going live. Tonight I decided to do a one sheet wonder. But towards the end you'll see that I pretty much go off the rails with this one. And I decided to do it with a 6x6 piece of paper. So this is the template for how I cut my pieces, and we will go ahead and do that. My desk is an absolute mess because I wasn't as organized today as I can be. So see if we'll have these in here. So first cut I'm going to make is the 1.5 inch strip. And then I'm going to take that and cut it into 4 1.5 inch squares. So we'll get that lined up. Whoop. Another 1.5. I'm so excited. I have a very short week at work this week. So tomorrow is my Friday. Hi, Nancy. How are you doing? So there I have my 4 cut. Hi, Brian. So now I'm going to take 2 of these and I'm going to cut them into half square triangles. Use a little bit of my quilting. So I'm going to line this up on the cutter so that the points are in the track and hope that it stays there. And I'm going to slice that right down the middle. And I'm going to grab another one and do the same thing. All right, so then I'm going to set these off to the side. The half square triangles are for one card. The 2 singles are for another one. Now I'm going to start by cutting 1 inch off of the bottom of this, and I'm going to cut it on this side of the, just totally went out of my mind, my paper trimmer, because I can go up to about 1.25 inches on this side. So that's going to give me that 1x4. And then I'm going to cut a 1 3/4. There we go. And then I'm going to cut a 1 1/4. And then I have 2 3/4 inches. And there we go. So I'll go ahead and for now get the paper trimmer out. And so I'm going to bring in, we're not going to make all of the cards this evening, but I thought that I would show you. So let me pull in these ones. So for this one, I have been using the Flowers for Every Season paper and stamp set. And I just had it on my catalog here. I just love this whole suite. Let me see if I can find it. So this is the whole suite, and it comes with the Celebration of Sunflowers and the Jars of Flowers. So these are the 2 stamp sets and dies. So that's mostly what I did this evening. So for this one, I cut some jade, and I cut it a 1/4 inch larger. So I cut it 1 3/4 inch instead of the 1 1/2. So let me do that real quick. 1 1/2 and then 1 3/4. So I'll show you real quick how I did this. And then I cut these in half just like I did the 1 1/2 inch squares. And then that's enough to place this on top. I ran the background that is 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. And I ran through an embossing folder. And I did, it's a retired one, it's the leaves. You could actually do any of them. But I thought it looked cute and it went with the flowers. And then all I did was take these and glue them around. And then for the flower in the middle, that is out of, told you I was a mess here. That's out of the Celebrate Sunflowers. It's this stamp. And then what I did with that is I colored it with some blends. So I do want to show you how I did that, because somebody was asking me earlier how to use the blending pens. So let me grab my piece of cardstock. Again, very disorganized, I apologize. So I did stamp this with, I'm trying to think of what I used. I actually used, if you were in the Christmas catalog last year, there's the Stays on Brown. I didn't want a black ink. That was what I tried first. And when I put it on there, it's cute and it would be just fine, but I wanted something a little softer. So I went with this Stays on Brown so that I could then use the blends. So I stamped it down. We'll move it off to the side. And then I will get my blender pen. And so I'm gonna bring in my inks. I'm gonna start with the cinnamon. I squeeze it so I get a little bit in the tray. And then I just put my blender pen in there and start to sort of watercolor with it. Now with these blender pens, you want to be careful not to rub too much, because you can end up rubbing too much on the paper and getting the paper to lift. The other thing that you want to do is when you're done with that color, just rub it and it will come off and your pen will start to be clear again. So now I need my Bumblebee. I can't believe how disorganized. Ah, there's Bumblebee. I knew it had to be here somewhere. So again, I just sort of squeeze the lid so I get some within there, and I pick it up, and it lets you watercolor basically with any inks that you have. And because you're doing like a watercolor effect, you don't have to be precise with it. You can just fill them in, and if you want a little bit darker down in the bottom, you can go back over them. So that's what I did to get this effect. And then I did the green, and then I used the dies that come with the set, if you buy it by the set, or you can purchase them separately, to cut this out so I could pop it up on dimensionals. And then let's celebrate. So that was our 4 little half square triangles. Then I did my 1.5 inch squares, and I also used the 1 inch across the bottom. I flipped it up and I added a piece of Misty Moonlight. I tried to stick with all the new colors this time when I made these cards. So this is what I did with these. Again, I just cut a 1 3/4 square, mounted those on top. I did take, I wanted a little bit of background, so there are some leaves that come with this set, and I stamped those in the background with the Just Jade, punched out a little sentiment and put it on top with a couple little gems. So that takes care of those 2 squares. Then I decided, what am I going to do with one of these little pieces? So I ended up doing this one, which I thought was really cute. This is the little jar dome lids that come with that suite that you can purchase. And so I stamped and then fussy cut out the flowers from the top. Again, I'm sticking with this sunflower theme to match everything. punch out a little sediment. And then you can punch out with the jar punch, which is the exact shape you need to put this dome down, and it's self-adhesive. I put a little bit of acetate behind it so that I could get some shakers going on there. And then when you open it up, it has the stems behind it, so it has that water effect. And I matched the flowers again on the inside. Now, the one I am going to make this evening is the one, so I took care of one of these ones. We'll take that one out of there. So this is the 1 3/4. So this is one I did. I put the 1 3/4 piece on this card. Again, I took the stamps. And of course I'm missing my, I told you it's my night to be totally disorganized. I apologize. It's been a crazy week. So I'm gonna cut my cardstock for this one. It's going to be the 4 1/4 by 11. Thank you, Nancy. So I'm gonna score this at 5 1/2. I love that this trimmer has the score blade and the cutting blade. Line up my card. Get that pressed down. So we'll get this out of the way. So the first thing I did was bring in this piece, and I'll glue that down. All right. You know, paper crafting is my second love. Quilting was my first. And one of the rules in quilting was measure twice, cut once. And lately we have been watching a TV show, I think it's called Hometown on HGTV. And there's a gentleman in there with a wood shop, and his philosophy, he has a sign that says, measure once, cuss twice. So this is why I always have a template with me, so I know what I'm measuring. So with this one then, what I did is I took the big stamp and I inked it up. I just wanted a light color in there, so I inked it up with the bumblebee, which matches this bumblebee paper, so you get that tone on tone effect. We'll get that in there. Well, this is why paper has two sides. Last time I stamped it in the wrong color. You can see this was the cinnamon cider, and I thought it was too dark. So we'll just try this again. A little more ink this time. All right. All right, I like that one. Very nice. So now with the dies, this is the die that you would use on this one. And I sort of look for where a unique piece is. And so it has the little curved. So I bring it in here until I find the ones and I line it up. Now, some people I know have the magnetic plates, but I find that even with the magnetic plates, that it can be an issue keeping that lined up when you run it through the machine. So I use these little Post-it notes. They're like replacing whiteout. And I like this strength because I can put it on here. It's going to hold this die in place when I put it through the machine, and it won't slip, and it peels off very easily. And so with the magic of Facebook Live, there's my cutout piece. And then the other one that I pre-cut from the dies was this one that cuts out all of the paper and pages. And now this one, sometimes it doesn't want to release all the inner pieces, and so you can use the little die brushes on it to break up the little pieces. Hi, Brittany. How's that new puppy? Okay, so some of the little tiny ones sometimes don't want to come out. You can use punch. So there we go. So I'm going to put a little glue on the back of this. Just enough in a couple little places to hold it in place. And then again, I look for that, the little twisted.
The dog is doing well.
Oh, I'm glad. What kind of puppy was that, Brittany? He was so cute. I saw the pictures. All right, so we get it all lined up. Put that down. You could also use the sticky paper on the back of this paper before you run it through the die machine, like we did last week. I'm a little bit off tonight. Let's see. Okay. So now I'll bring in my Just Jade. Now that I know where this flower is going to go, I do take my stamp. Millie is a Corky. Oh, how cute. And then I'll just line up and put some leaves in here. And then I do like the little leaves, and I like to stamp those off on a piece of scratch paper here and do something a little lighter. There we go. So we're on our way here. And then I did pop this up with dimensionals. All right.
What's the home is?
Oh, Brittany, I love, love, love the new place. My crafting room is probably, I don't know, what, 2 or 3 times the size of the last one. So it's so nice. I actually have room for all of my stuff and to move around. So I have a whole new setup for all my inks and card making. I just love it. I do miss our stamp camps at the old place. All right. I think I have them all off. And then you just pop that in there. I love this stamp set and these dies. I just think they're so pretty. And then for a sentiment, I used Itty Bitty Greetings. This is a great set. It has actually 2 sets with it. I have one of them in my hand. Man, I don't know what's happened to me. I need to get better organized. But I have this set in my hand. The stamp that I'm using, I decided that I needed a couple sympathy cards, and I thought this one was really pretty for that. Thank you, Brittany. All right, let's make sure I'm right side up here. Again, I like to test. So, there we go. Stamp that down. And then there's some little enamel dots that are also in the in colors. And so I can pull some of these off. I think I'll go with the cinnamon. Let's see. And then we'll put one up here in the corner. And there we go. And then I can just write my message inside when I'm ready to send it. So that leaves me with one more card, and I have to be perfectly honest with you. By the time I got to this point, I went totally off the rails. I went to my shelf and said, what can I do with these last 2 small pieces of paper? And I didn't feel like doing any more stripes or any more little squares. And then I said, you know what? I'm gonna pull out the umbrella set under my umbrella and the under my umbrella punch. And so I just went in here, and with this bigger one, I punched myself out a couple of umbrellas. And with the stamp set, I punched some raindrops, again using tone on tone. So the Just Jade ink with the Just Jade paper, put my umbrellas down. I did the boots and I fussy cut them. And then when I did the little flowers, I just used the Stampin' Right markers to color them individually, and I decided to bring in some of that new magenta ink and did a little sentiment. And so now that's ready for me to put an insert in and send the card off. I just love this. Life showers bring love's flowers. So I went a little bit off there, but that's what creativity does, right? There's no rules, there's no police. So my one sheet wonder ended up doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards. One of them was just, I used the last 2 strips a little differently.
Sandy's.
Hi, Sandy. Hey, better late than never, right? So those are the cards we made. And here's just an extra one to show you the different kind of coloring that we talked about between the brown and the black ink. So it's really all personal preference. There's no right or wrong. So I just love this set. If you have any questions, let me know. I really appreciate you joining me. This has been fun for me to do on Wednesdays. And I look forward to next Wednesday. So remember too, the new holiday catalog comes out on the 4th. Yes, it's coming very quickly. It's next week. That's very quick, so you'll be able to see it online. I will be posting in this chat and in my newsletter that's going out soon the hostess code for the month. So you'll be able to see everything that's inside by the end of next week. I think it's actually Tuesday. So remember to mark your calendars for that. Thanks, everybody. Have a great rest of your night. Bye.